Starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, I was on mute. Mute got me again, no maniacs. I'm sorry. But hey, here I am again. Here we are again. Welcome to Nomad at Night, man. I'm your host, Nomad. I got my trusty Canuck with me. And we have a special guest, Nick D'Alessandro. Nick, let me ask you a question. What is your Twitter handle or the handle that you use when you're in chats? Maybe people will recognize
Bears Fan Goomba on
Fan
Twitter
Goomba.
and in YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, Bears Fan Goomba. So most people, I think, would know that name because that's pretty unique, if I would say so myself. And so, hey, again, welcome to the show, guys. Let me see people in the chat. I see Terry Anderson. Terry Anderson is on vacation, checking us out. Much love to Terry. Squeegee, who was that up there? Derek, I couldn't see his last name. Cornelius Squall, Smitty, In the Grass, King Booker World. Did I say Cornelius? I'm going to say it again. Bear Truth 9. Let me see. Deuce One Effects. Welcome to the show. I've never seen that name in there before, but buddy, welcome to the family. Hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel and do us that favor, man. Appreciate you. Charles Gilman, Joseph Archer, Brian, who's outside looking in today. Love you, brother. See you Monday. Jay Red, you're supposed to be in the show, man. I don't know why you're not. You're in the waiting room. You should be on the show, Chris. I don't know what that's all about, but his email is in the invite area, if you don't mind. I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, guys, welcome to the show, man. So we came here to talk about, and again, before we get going, let me speak for Allison, who is a little bit wiped out. She's got a new job. She was supposed to be on the show today, and she let me know that she was a little bit tired and really didn't feel like she could make it to the show. So that's for Allison. A shout out to Allison. We'll get her back on here lately. Jay Red is, I guess, trying to figure out how we get him in the green room. We'll figure that out here in a minute, hopefully, and get him on the show. But let's just give some pleasantries around, kids. Let's just start with you, man. Let's just give some shout outs.
Well, brother, you kind of ate up all the pleasantries. You went through the whole squad. What's cracking, No Maniacs? Super good to have you guys joining us here Sunday night. We got some original No Maniacs joining us on the show today. Looks like we got the Bears Fan Goomba rolling with us. Definitely an honor to be with you and have you with us. And we've just got
Jay Red.
Other direction.
Jay Red.
We got Jay Red.
How y'all doing?
No,
what are you saying, my brother?
Keep giving your shout outs, man. We'll get everybody folded in.
I'm go ahead, Jay Red.
Okay, my Twitter is Go to Go Podcast, but my Twitch where I stream on daily is Jay Red, JAYEREDD all together. And we got some things coming up that we working on too, so I'm happy to get that going too.
Yeah, let me speak on that really fast. So Jay Red, his handle is Jay Red when you game, right?
Yeah.
So when you game, he's called Jay Red. It's gonna be I think King Jay Red now, right?
Yeah.
King Jay Red. So look for that logo, King Jay Red. He's gonna be streaming on Twitch through the Nomad Network, and he's gonna be gaming, man. And I like what's cooking and what's ahead of him, man. I think he's gonna get something going over there with the help of the network and you guys in the chat. Make sure you when we let you guys know exactly when he's gonna stream, make sure you go in there and show him some love, and just get that word out for him. And we're gonna help grow him and get him to where he needs to be. So appreciate you for being on, man. Glad to have you here.
No, I appreciate y'all.
All right, so Nick D'Alessandro down there. How about this, man? Let's just kind of give the audience a little background on who you are and what you do, anything like that.
Well, been a Bears fan for 47 years, practically as long as I can remember. And my dad's from Chicago and all his side of the family. And so, yeah, that's my connection to Chicago, even though I've only been there once. But Yeah, just I've lived the definitely the ups and many downs of being a Bears fan over these years, and so especially in the '90s, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, I'm glad to be here. Thanks, everybody.
So Jay, what's your background and how did you become a Bears fan?
I was born in it. I'm a die in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how it goes with me. I'm from Chicago, so I'm from Chicago, born and raised. Now it's just the first love, first sight. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything to me.
Hey, I can actually I relate to that in a deep way. You know, I was born into it myself, man, and fell quite quickly in love with it. Not just the Bears, but just football in general, man. It's in my bloodline, man. I football, man. I don't know my life without football in it, and
Yeah.
and I think it comes through in my passion when I talk. I believe people can recognize that, and I can tell by when people send us emails or when I talk to somebody in a StreamYard meeting, like when I was talking to Nick, I can just tell. And when I talk to Jay, I talk to you guys, man. I can just tell, man. Everybody's so wrapped into this emotionally. I mean, the city is wrapped into this whole thing emotionally. And we did make a statement on the show when we was doing Nomad Live during the week that we're going to turn the page on the whole Justin Fields saga. But I think it's only right that we'll do this one show where we give everybody an opportunity, the guests that come on the show, the Nomaniacs that come on the show, an ample opportunity to express themselves on how they feel about how everything transpired. We all know that we got to move on, but there's no harm in letting people know how you feel about the whole ordeal and how it played out. What's your thoughts about that? We'll start with Bears fan Goomba or Nick Delisandro. Let's get your take on how you felt about how that went down. Is there anything about it that sat wrong with you? Would you do anything different under the circumstances?
I just hated the toxicity of it all. I understand that there were people on both sides, those who wanted Justin, those who didn't. But I just think the discourse took a really bad turn, especially with the media. Yeah, it was just so ugly. I mean, I just can't wait for the draft to get here. And this is probably the first time in ever offseason that I'm just like, I just want it to be over with because I'm just tired of it. It's pretty sick, but I mean, and it's still going on a little bit. Now you got gatekeepers to the fandom and you've got people that are still holding on and you got others that are pulling receipts. And it's just like, come on, people, just move on. We're all Bears fans. Let's just, let's support whoever comes in here and, hopefully we beat the Packers twice a year finally. So.
All right, Jay, what do you think about the whole thing, how it played out?
I just feel like it's like when you got a good girl and you leave her for a younger one. That's the only thing that I can think of. Because for the simple fact that Justin he didn't have no help around him, and then now we getting all the help for the new girl. We had Justin Fields in the trap house. Now he putting Caleb Williams in the mansion. So it's just like I don't know. I wish we could have gave him an opportunity to get into a mansion. We gave him some rocks and a stick and told him to build the mansion, and it just didn't happen. And we can't get mad at him. So that's just how I feel about that. I just wish he had a chance, opportunity to actually play with a good team around him.
He's got me and Kez chuckling, but I'll let Kez go because he wants to respond to that.
I don't have a response to it other than last, man. I like your analogy. It's a very succinct. It's a very succinct analogy. A little bit of trap house action. What can you do? Is what it is at this point, and hopefully, Caleb is like the Fresh Prince in that mansion. Just sort of comes in, you know what I mean? Takes things over, changes it up on Uncle Phil. So that's basically where I am with it. Cool. Go ahead.
So I think before we get into the nuts and bolts of tonight's show, which is did Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus put themselves on the hot seat, we'll talk about that. But it's important to get around. Because we got new people on the show, it's important to get their thoughts on, because we have moved on and we have made different moves and started to build this team actually through free agency because we only have 4 draft picks. And well, what is it? 4 or 5 draft picks left? I think 4. And so now apparently they felt like the pieces that they needed to really I guess cross that threshold of being a playoff team. I guess they felt like, okay, we draft this new quarterback. We get some guys in free agency that can really, they felt like can change the game. Keenan Allen, you get DeAndre Swift, you get Kevin Byard, you go grab, who am I missing? Gerald Everett, and the pieces that they grabbed in free agency. What did that do to you guys' thoughts on what they can do moving forward? Do you think that's enough to make this a playoff contender? We'll start with you, Nick.
Yeah, I think I'm a little worried about only having 4 draft picks, to be quite honest, just because there's a lot of players in this draft, But other than that, I mean, I do think Poles is making the right moves. I can honestly say I probably trust him more than I've trusted any GM probably since Jerry Angelo in the early 2000s when he was, drafting the Pro Bowlers and everything. But I think they're on the right path, and I'm not. Flus, I kind of want to see, some better in-game decision making, but other than that, I think Poles is doing a pretty good job. Kind of curious to see what he's going to do with that number 9 pick, whether he's going to trade back or not. So,
go ahead, Jay.
I think we need something. One more piece opposite of Montez. That'll solidify the defense,
Yeah.
And then a third receiver. I mean, Tyler Scott, he's okay. I feel like we need a third receiver. And we get a third. Our offense would be legit if coming in, Caleb Williams is the Caleb Williams that everybody thinks he is. If he's that, one more receiver, Tyler Scott, the 4th receiver, then, what I'm saying, we would have a dynamic offense. But I just feel like we need one more piece. The offensive line, we got to get the center straight. And like you said, coaching. Eberflus lost 3 games, 2 to 3 games by himself, just off bad coaching. So if we get that together, I feel like sky's the limit. Beyond the sky's the limit for us.
So let me throw this up, kids, because Illinois Jones is in here. Shout out to Illinois, and he's saying, "I'm just gonna." You want to read it, kids, and you can respond to it because you haven't talked a whole lot.
Poles took himself off the hot seat. Sticking with Fields and passing on 2 number 1 picks would have put him on it.
How do you like that logic?
I don't.
Actually, kind of fair.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kid.
I've heard that a little bit, but I don't know how much that would hold weight. But
so I've heard
it would put him on the hot seat if Caleb turns out to be good, because then that would mean 2 drafts in a row he passed on 2 good quarterbacks. But that's we're speaking hindsight on that.
The doodle was back there doodling.
yeah,
And listen, this is I've heard this one too many times to just ignore it, and that is that was a job-saving decision that he made about Justin Fields. I've heard that multiple times. I can align my way of thinking with that. I could also align myself with this way of thinking, fellas. And I think I've said this. I think you've heard Keith Harris say this multiple times. I've said it to him behind in the green room multiple times. It's very possible, kids, Jay Red and Nick, that he's had his eyes on this opportunity the whole time to get the quarterback that he was looking for. Jay Red, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that too, because I really now looking back and seeing how it all folded, like I've been thinking that too. Like, what if he really didn't get Justin Fields the help on purpose? Because he had ample opportunities year 2 to actually build. I know he got rid of some contracts, but he could have brought some good pieces in on offense. The defense probably wouldn't have been as good, but he probably we could have seen what Justin Fields was about, and also he could have did better than getting a first-year OC. You know what I'm saying? You can't get a first-year OC with basically a rookie quarterback because year 1 for Justin was a throwaway. You can't. You know what I'm saying? So, I honestly, I think he wanted him to fail. Honestly, I'm not me personally. I kind of think he kind of wanted him so he had no excuse. Bryce Young was too small. You know what I'm saying? He was too small. He wasn't a good fit in Chicago. The Panthers gave him a great opportunity. So why not benefit from that? You know what I'm saying? So This year, Caleb, he's got nice size. He's everything the same thing. He's just a little smaller, a little slower, but still he's more dynamic throwing the ball. Like it was just like and plus he's seen Patrick Mahomes, and so he's looking like, okay, I got this kid coming up. Let's just buy time. And if Justin has to make this hard for me, if he doesn't, hey. Yeah. And I'm not gonna make it easy to make it hard for him. You know what I'm saying? So what if that's how I was thinking about it too.
So Nick, let me ask you because you know, and this is just my understanding of how GMs work. I mean, I'm talking about from the neck up. The way they have to think and the way they are trained professionally is to look always 5 years down the road at the things that you do now and how it might affect you 5 years down the road, whether it be you know, contracts, whatever the situation is, aligning, getting your situation player-wise, draft pick-wise to where you see yourself now and 5 years down the road. That's just good business, right? Good business strategies and plans give you a 5-year window as to what, you know, they ask you, what is this thing projected to do 5 years down the road? And so thinking 5 years down the road, Caleb Williams was only 3 years down the road for Ryan Poles. Is it possible that that's what he was thinking the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, let's put it this way. There was that story about when Poles was being interviewed, he pretty much told George, hey, I'm going to have to burn this thing down to the ground and rebuild this whole thing because you guys don't have good players. And then he proceeded to basically get rid of all the, you know, the veterans and the Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks and everybody. And he's doing it the right way, something the Bears have never done before. Unfortunately, Justin got caught up into that process. But yeah, he is looking down the road. He's told everybody time and time again, I've got a process. I've got a way that I'm doing this. And so far, I mean, I'm not saying all of his moves have worked out. I mean, the whole Claypool trade was definitely a botched. But, you know, other than that, I mean, he did get some luck with the whole draft with, you know, Carolina pretty much just bombing it this last year. And, you know, I agree with Jay that, you know, he had to jump on Caleb because that was the best prospect and probably reminds him a little bit of Mahomes. I'm not saying he's going to be Mahomes, so I don't want to get flamed in the comments and stuff like that. But, you know, he's doing it his way. And I mean, I actually have more trust in him, even though some of the things are very hard, you know, so I think he's doing it the right way. It's tough though.
Kids, I can't ever get mad at another man when it comes to his convictions. Because when a man is convicted about something and he's given the task to build this thing into a champion, right? And he's looking at what he's looking at when he walks in the door. What is that, 3 years ago? And the first thing he decided to do was to burn it down and basically let's see what we have in some of these younger pieces, the pieces that aren't costing the team a whole lot. Let's get rid of these big contracts right away and see what this team looks like. Bring in this coach who you know, per everything everybody said about him was this guy is a player's coach. Eberflus was a kind of guy that could build a culture. And I think that's what Flus was brought here for, to instill a culture into the locker room so that it's kind of like a blueprint for everybody to work with that walks into the building. This is how we go about business, right? And so he brings this guy in, tears it down, and says, you know what? I know you're going to be a good coach, but you're going to have to coach with nothing. We're going to get rid of some of the leaders in that locker room, some of the studs around there, and we're going to see how good you are as a coach. And I was, quite frankly, I was impressed for the most part until I think last year, I think is where I started running into problems with you know, a better built defense. And this defense looked to be on a better, it's top 15 and better for the most part, pretty much the whole season. And he's blowing games. He's blowing games based on the decisions that he's made. But I'm getting a little further away from my point. My point is, kids, you can't really, and I've gotten to this point because I've just done a lot of reflection. I can't get mad at Ryan Poles because of his conviction about he thinks that he can get a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I cannot get mad at him for that. Only thing I can say is, man, I just hope you're right. I just really hope that you're right. As a fan, I just hope that you're right. Was it fair what happened to Justin Fields? I don't
Bingo.
think anybody would tell you that. I don't think anybody with their right minds could tell you that it was fair. You know what I mean? But you can't get mad at a man for his convictions. Caleb Williams has all the he's got all the earmarks of a great quarterback. He's got some traits to him that looks like greatness. And how that translates to the NFL, I think that's just what we're going to have to see. But you can't really herald him as anything until you see him take NFL snaps for a prolonged period of time. And so that's just what I want to. I'm not mad at him about his convictions anymore. Kids, how do you feel about it now, looking back on it?
It's an interesting way to spin it. Again, like he made a decision to take a shot, and you know what I mean. He more or less. Ryan Poles has been standing at the side of the craps table this whole offseason, and he's just sort of making a decision as to where to place his bet. And he placed his bet. And for the most part, it's on the field, and we all got to ride with that bet. That's it. We got to ride with that bet. If it hits, it hits. We're all happy. If it doesn't hit, que sera, sera. Some of it, other folks were suggesting he put the money on number 1. In this case, he put the money on number 13. That's kind of how it shakes out. Other folks would have rather that he split the money and put it on multiple picks, right? Like, and that's kind of where my head space was. But it really is a crapshoot, to be honest with you. And I love to play me some craps. In this scenario, I'm glad I'm not the guy at the table because there's so many different ways to lose this game, but at the same time, there's a few different ways to win it. And I think he's decided to hitch his wagon onto a kid that has a whole lot of talent. And just like you were saying there, J. Red, it's highly possible, and I've said it myself, it's highly possible that he came into the GM sphere with his eyes squarely on Caleb Williams being his quarterback, period, right? Like that's something I've been speculating for some time. Same token, I don't blame him for, having to flush out the roster. Ryan Pace left him with absolutely no choice. We only stopped paying for, geez, man. I'm blanking out on the name right now, but we're
Danny Trevathan.
That's exactly who I'm talking about. That's it. Danny Trevathan. We just stopped paying for Danny. The contracts associated with Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack were astronomical, really hamstringing him, and his ability to make any real maneuvers over the course of the future. So, had to tank that season, had to flush those guys out, reset the books, and more or less start again. And here he is. So once more, I can't hold anything against the man. He placed his bet, and I think I'm not that I think. I hope. I think we all hope that this bet's a winner.
What do you see? Here's my thing, man. I believe this, man. And you know what, Justin Fields, I'm gonna root him on just because of the hand that he was dealt. No matter he's in Pittsburgh right now, I'll root for him because I believed in him, and I tell people this all the time because there's a lot of people running around here taking victory laps because we didn't keep Justin Fields and they ended up looking like they're going to draft Caleb Williams, and now all of a sudden more football than the next podcaster. Hey, I'll tell you something about yourself here in a minute because I'm going to tell you straight up. I get more right than I get wrong. I don't think I got this wrong. Poles just made another kind of decision. But people are going to say what they want to say about that. There's a lot of victory laps going on. I have no problem with it. You can do that all day. But, this whole thing about podcasters and reporters that they were right and you were wrong, to me, that goes right over my head. I don't even let that land on me. Ryan Poles decided to do something that was contrary to what a lot of people thought that he should. You know what I mean? A lot of people felt like, okay, the way this team was trending towards the end of the year was every good reason to say, you know what, let's give this one more year and add some pieces to it. It had all the earmarks of that. Am I right, Jay Red or Nick?
Yeah. I just want to say this. Like, people blame Justin Fields, but I don't blame Justin Fields for not developing, because developing comes from coaching. He never had, and he never really had good coaching and also good weapons around him. I hate when people say he couldn't play on time. I got a question. If you start the show at 8 o'clock, if the show starts at 8 o'clock and I get here at 8 o'clock and you get here at 8:50, can I play? Can I get on the show on time? Most of the time, his weapons were not getting open. They were the worst in separation for 2 years. Like for the last 2 years, like, and that's where are the weapons that he had to throw to now? Chase Claypool, he got traded. He's not even dressing. He didn't even dress probably but one game for the Dolphins. Then you had Byron Pringle. He was our big acquisition on the wide receiver side last year. Where is he? You know what I'm saying? Where that's why I say he just got done so wrong. I just wish that Ryan Poles was like, okay, I'm gonna do him right. I'm gonna give him a season. I'm gonna give him a season for everything and see what he can do. Because that's he never had that shot. Everybody said he's worse in fourth quarter, and he's worse in the fourth quarter and halftime. Like, okay, he has nobody to throw to. The only weapon he has ever had is DJ Moore. He has a career year. That's not an anomaly. That's not. It shouldn't be like, oh no, we shouldn't throw that out the window. Like, no, I don't like. That's one thing I don't like. But I just wish Ryan Poles just like, man, I'm gonna give him everything. But you see, right now, Caleb Williams really doesn't have an excuse. He has 2 number 1 receivers. If he get a third, listen, you put all your money on him. You should dial like Russian roulette. What is it? Roulette when the ball spin around.
Yeah.
You put all your money on Caleb Williams, it better hit. You know what I'm saying? That's all I gotta say. You put the money all on Caleb Williams. He has the weapons now. He has 2 number 1,200 plus yards receivers. He got 2 of those. He got 2 tight ends, 2 good tight ends. You know what I'm saying? He got a really, really good number 1 running back and a backup runner. He got his offensive line was just they played good in the back end for Justin too. So I'm not gonna say that they did play better at the end. Now all he has to do is draft the center, and look, the offense is good. You got a top 10 defense for the last 8 games of the season, for 8 to 10 games of the season. So listen, he has it. You have the church's money. Please, I pray, let you use that prayer and it comes true, because that's all I got to say. That's all how I feel.
Nick, before you respond to that, because I do want your take on it. Everybody in the chat, man, the reason we did this show is to give people that view the show an opportunity to express themselves, and that's the conversation that we're trying to lead. Just allowing people to air it out. Ain't no need to get mad at anybody for having their opinion. It's just people expressing themselves as to what went down. We're still gonna have to still turn the page regardless. It's just letting people have their say so about it all. But go ahead, Nick, if you got anything.
No, I was just going to say, there was a lot of blame to go around. Getsy was a big part of it. I think I saw Berlissimo say in the comments that everybody knew what we were running in the fourth quarter. Things were very predictable. Greg Gabe has said that, he doesn't even know how to call, Getsy doesn't even know how to call a game. You saw that he didn't know how to set plays up, to continue to, get down the field. It was very predictable. But something I wanted to build off what Jay just said was, he did have DJ Moore, but he also had Darnell Mooney. He had Komet. He had some other people that could have gotten the ball. Unfortunately, Mooney did drop a bunch of, there were that Hail Mary and some other ones that he dropped. There's blame to go around. I don't think it's squarely on one person. Unfortunately, the offensive line was, some people say it was better than what people think, and it definitely wasn't as good as it should have been. So, hey, just got to move forward now, and it seems like we're going to have a better team this next year, and that's what I'm hoping for. So
I think what we came here to talk about is here's where I get a little conflicted. But I'm going to be totally above board and be fair. I don't give a damn what rookie it is, whether if it was Justin Fields coming in as a rookie, whether it was Caleb Williams, Jaden Dan, I don't care who it is. I just understand that it's a rookie. And I know what comes with a rookie. There's a learning curve for every rookie. especially if you don't set that situation up for him correctly. Like the way they set up CJ Stroud, I tell people this all the time on film. It's easy to determine why he had such a good year. They basically spent the whole half of the season cutting the field in half and giving him half the field to read. And so they just played, they ran plays, they wanted to run the ball, and they did that. And then when they did pass, it was out of play action, and the field was cut in half, and he had 1, 2, 3 levels to deal with. And so it's either a running back out of the backfield, tight end on a drag, or receiver coming down over the field on an over route, kind of in his vision. And he had to. It's a layered concept, and it's easy for a rookie quarterback to only get broken down to 3 options that are all right in front of you on one side of the field. They did that for an entire half of the season, and it worked out aces for the Houston Texans. That is the way you bring up a rookie quarterback. So what I'm saying, the reason for doing this show and the thumbnail is to also let these guys express themselves on how they felt about the whole situation. But in turn, what did that do to, the expectations for this rookie and the coach and the general manager? Because it appears to me that if we don't have success, meaning that we don't make a playoff run, they have put themselves in a situation of, to me, kids, extreme heat behind on the buttocks. I think so. I think Flus is going to be the first one to catch the stray, to be honest with you.
Oh, for sure. Matt Eberflus is the built-in scapegoat, right? That's basically what he is. It's unfortunate, but it's the way that these things go. The reality, though, is I don't think it's going to fail this time. I don't know what else to say. This time, I think it's going to work. I think they're going to build themselves mediocre is not the word to use. We should have a decent enough team, not only to make the playoffs this season, but potentially do some damage the following year. That's where my headspace is. I don't think this can't be a failure. It just can't be another failure season. It would be a real disappointment to all of us if it was, because I think defensively we have a high caliber team. I think we still need that. That cornerstone on the other side, as Jay was sort of alluding to earlier on, Jay Red, we need that cornerstone. Offensively, I think, more than I think, this team is coming into a situation where offensively, even though he's a rookie quarterback, we probably haven't fielded an offensive squad like this ever in Chicago. If we have, we're probably talking about Cutler, Marshall, Trubisky, you think? You think the Trubisky 2018?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I might have been thinking about something else.
I would think it'd be the Cutler year with Alshon Jeffrey and
Brandon Marshall and
Brandon Marshall, Martellus Bennett,
and Martellus Bennett. That's probably the closest thing to what we're talking about. Add an additional tight end. I've got faith in DeAndre Swift. This team should perform, man, and I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Again, I don't want to hold Caleb too lofty, too lofty dreams or delusions of grandeur. I don't want to do that because he's a rookie coming into a situation. But I think coming in as a rookie here, he might be set up in the best possible way. So more power to him, and I hope things work out. And I just wonder, what does Poles do at this 9th pick? Does he go and get him and does he go get him his friend? Does he go get him Joe Alt? Does he get that protection piece for him on that left side? Right? I've been thinking a lot more about it. I know you've been pressing it, Nomad. I'm all for the wide receiver, but maybe having the 2 super solid wide receivers we have now in Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, maybe that's enough. We might be able to get somebody else on waiver wire a little bit, or free agency a little bit later on. and you just get him that cornerstone, protect the kid, and give him an opportunity to go.
Oh, Chris got in here.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, like I always tell you, high drafted wide receivers don't usually cause you to win championships. Strong defensive line, strong offensive line is what will win you a championship, because that makes everybody better. So my problem is not with drafting anybody. My problem is with his strategy to build a team into a winner and forsaking a possible haul of picks into the future and stocking a team with talented blue chip players rather than going with a generational type talent. And as we know, unless Brady wasn't a generational talent coming out of college. Aaron Rodgers went into the 20s. For the most part, Peyton Manning is the only number one pick, I think, in the last 20 years that's won a championship.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So,
Chris,
build a team, huh?
I got a question, man.
Go ahead.
Are you done being upset with the way the Justin Fields saga has played out? And I'm talking about his being respectful of Ryan Poles' convictions and what he saw in the next quarterback.
Here's again what I'm saying. Yeah, I didn't like the way Justin was done. I like Justin, and my take on it has always been, Justin was the good guy. Let the good guy win for once. Let him be here. Didn't happen. So, but I still find fault, in the way Ryan Poles, is building the team. It has nothing to do with not liking Caleb. It really has less to do with even wanting Justin here. It's just not the proper way, team building 101. And like I said before, if your approach is from a stance of I'm doing this to make, job security, what fixes job security is winning and winning championships. You can think, okay, if I draft a quarterback, I at least got 2 to 3 more years. And that to me is just an ineffective approach to long-term success. So I don't know that was his thinking, but like I said, the proof is in the pudding. You win with a good team. And even Mahomes, this past season, Kansas City played terrible the first part of the season. Yeah, they beat us, but they didn't look like the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl in the first part of the season. But they developed the talent they had. This is where coaching matters so much. They developed the talent that they had, and you see it with six round picks contributing to the championship. That's what we do. That's what we should do, is to develop. And Chicago's always been terrible at developing players. So
I'm just ready to.
So I'm not still upset. I'm more upset that I'm upset that we don't have all those picks, man. That's what I'm upset about, is we don't have all those picks.
Yeah.
And we've got an offensive line. You guys are talking offensive line, and yeah, we're good on one side. The other side we're not sure about. Defensive end, the second edge rusher that's what we need. We don't have a player on the other side of Montez Sweat.
Right.
D-Rob is probably going to be working at Walmart this time next year. I'm just what I'm saying. If you're going to do something with the 9th pick, go out and get a generational type. I ain't gonna say that word. I just see Jared Verse. Jared Verse to me has no weaknesses. All he needs is to be developed, and you got a guy that's going to play at Pro Bowl level at least for the next 10 years.
So Chris, I think what I'm getting at is I've had homies that they've been married to people, and of recently, some of the people that they married became real good friends of mine and close, and I know they're good people, but they got to a point where they reached a state in their relationship where the male, my homeboy, was just ready to do something else, and I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, man, and this has been a couple years down the line since I'm talking about one particular. I can't name him, but he regrets it now. A couple years down the line.
You know why? You know why he regrets it?
Don't name him.
Because his approach was defective. Okay, he didn't build it the right way.
But I forgave him. That's what I'm trying to get at. I forgave him.
I forgive him. I mean, that to me, that's a moot point.
That was his conviction at the time.
But you do stuff the right way, and you ain't got to worry about it. Your convictions can be controlled by your emotions and what other people say. That's what we talked about even with polls. Is he feeling pressure from outside sources to do this? Build a team to win. We know how teams are built to win when you have good teams, not just good players at quarterback.
So Nick,
Eli Manning wasn't as good as Aaron Rodgers, but he certainly got more Super Bowls at a better team.
Nick, you getting the vibe of where we're going here? It's like it's basically respecting someone that has been tasked to do a job, and he's doing it in the way that he wants to, and he's basically it's half. I wouldn't say half and half. I don't know what the particular percentage is, but it's a lot of people like myself that's okay with it now, and there are a lot of people that just like, man, that's the wrong way to treat this guy who's giving you everything he's had, and then he started to really grow, and you decide to do that with him. It's a lot of people that hasn't reached that threshold that we have, and ready to go ahead and let this guy do his job the way he chooses to do it. And that's why we're having this conversation, to get it on out there, and so that people can, I hope I'm doing a part of trying to help get closure to the situation. And I think part of it is just letting people air out how they feel about it. But the respect part of what he has to do, respect his decision making. What do you think about that, man? Are you okay with the choices that he's made?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think the biggest problem is that everybody's struggling with in different ways is the fact that the Bears have never been a competent organization that's ever made decisions like this. And Poles seems to be the first general manager that's actually trying to do it the way, let's say, Kansas City did. 1 year Kansas City had a horrible defense. They fixed that. The next year they had a horrible offensive line. They fixed that. They got, they struck gold with Mahomes. I think he's trying to do it. He's basically trying to do it the same way that they did in Kansas City. And, I'll tell you right now, I'm not used to a Bears general manager doing it this way. But you know what? I just have to trust him right now, even though some of the decisions, I didn't like the Khalil Mack trade, but I understand why he did it, But yeah, so, I'm on board with it regardless, yeah.
Go ahead, Jay. I see you building up over there.
Well, no, it's like this. It's like, I think what a lot of people think hate is the fact that I feel like he's actually building a beautiful house. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's building a beautiful house. But like I say, to go back to the trap house, Justin was there in the trap house, and we learned to love the trap house girl. We wanted to see the girl go from the trap house to the mansion. You know what I'm saying? That's just how. It's just what it was. That's just what it is. But we got to get over that. She didn't make it to the trap house. She didn't make it out the trap house.
You know what? She's now Nomad's friend. He's now Nomad's friend.
Hey, man.
2 years later, they mad.
Hey, even the trap house girl can go get cleaned up and get a life together now.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we want to see.
And she does.
She's still a trap house girl.
So, man, hey, look, man. Like I said, I'm
song right there. Really though, that's a trap house girl.
See, don't even get started. We live on air now. I was gonna talk to you about that behind the scenes. Hey, that's a good analogy, man. I like how you put that, man. That's unique. I could think of a whole lot of stuff, but that one did not come through my mind. And basically, yeah, they was bumming it with Justin. It appears as though, yeah, they was gonna bum it until they got to the situation that they were looking for, and they got in the perfect situation to get him the quarterback that he's looking for. And that's the bottom line to it. I think in the nutshell, that is it, man. Guys, I think that's it. I think they were gonna looking back at this in hindsight, they were gonna struggle where they needed to struggle, and as long as they needed to struggle to get to this point. Right. And that was to get what they believe is their franchise quarterback. all I can do is respect that now. Looking at it on the other side of it, and you know, I supported Justin Fields like nobody else. This network supported him like nobody else. Why? Not because you know, we think he's the best quarterback ever. No, we just thought we seen something in him, and I still feel that way about him. Nothing changed. If I had to do that over again, I would not hesitate. Do it 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. But he thought something different. His virtues were different. Being Ryan Poles, his virtues were different than ours. And so what I'm saying to you is, I think we all have to get to a point where we respect a man that has to do a job and his choices. We'll have plenty of time to criticize if the thing doesn't go right. It's not like we're going to look for reasons to be down on Ryan Poles. I'm not. I'm going to root for what he's putting together. I'm going to really root for what he's got going on and do it with all my earnest. I'm not going to look back on this thing and say, you know what, I'm mad at you because of the way you did Justin Fields and hold that against you. No, I'm not doing that, man. I suggest nobody does that to him, but just wait and see how this plays out and see what comes together. See if he was right about this whole thing, because he absolutely can be. He absolutely can be absolutely right about this. You want to do this super chat, kids?
Yeah, I got it. And to be honest, it's not a question of whether he can be right. Like he kind of has to be right. Like he has to be right, or unfortunately, he has sealed his doom, for lack of better phrasing.
Well, I mean, let me say this.
Hold on, Chris. Let me get to Kerry Franklin here. $20 super chat from Kerry. All the Caleb Williams retractors in this podcast watch the tape between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. I was a big fan of Justin Fields until seeing TTNL breaking tape down on both guys, and I've never looked back. There is no doubt Caleb Williams will take the Bears to a Super Bowl win.
Hold on. Let me attack this first. We'll take the whole TTNL breaking down tape and slide that on to the side. One thing I've chosen not to do on this network is to put illustrations and break down tapes, because I'm sick of doing it. I'm absolutely sick of doing it. I did that all through high school, and it turned up a notch when I was in college. I'm sick of all 22. It's a new tool for everybody else, and everybody that does all 22, some people do it and do it well. I respect those people, and I shout them out all the time. But then there's others that do it, and just because you can, like, I can find flaws in Caleb. I can poke holes in Caleb Williams' game, but I choose not to. Other people do all 22s and do the, all right, this guy versus the next guy. That's one thing. The thing about Justin Fields versus a Caleb Williams, the only thing, and I looked at the all 22s in ad nauseum. I mean, when I say ad nauseum, I don't illustrate it all on this network and show you what I'm looking at, but trust and believe I do my homework. The one thing that you would say that sticks out like a sore thumb as the difference between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields is the quickness and the mechanics of Caleb Williams' release.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that stands out. You could tell me all this. I watched this breakdown over here and it looked like that over there. I can tell you straight out, anybody that's finding a huge difference between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams is full of SHIT, and tell them I told you that. Tell them I told you that. Because there's not a big difference. He holds on to the ball a little too long, and all that stuff about who reading defenses and who's not. Nobody can actually tell you what each quarterback's progressions are. So how are they going to tell you how someone is reading something? They don't know. They're not in the huddle. They're not the offensive coordinator nor the quarterback's coach. So they wouldn't be able to tell you. Anybody in their right mind can't tell you what the progression is for each quarterback. So take that completely out the picture. Caleb Williams has an ultra quick release, and that is a huge difference for a quarterback in the NFL. That can make you right even when you're wrong. And so if there's ever a reason to say that Caleb Williams is an upgrade over Justin Fields, there you have it, right there. It's the mechanics of his release. That's the only difference between the two quarterbacks.
There's another difference, and the other difference is that Caleb's looking to throw as opposed to run, and I'll give him that. It's not that Caleb can't run. It's not that he is, as as much of an athlete as Justin. I'll have to say that Justin is probably the better quote unquote athlete. But he will run if he has to, but he's not looking to. He holds the ball because he's looking to find a man that's actually open, and he generally actually hits him. He'll also throw the ball away more frequently, and these are things that I've criticized Justin for in the past. So I have to say that all of the things that I've personally criticized Justin for, Caleb is generally a lot better at. So once more, I have no problems with this move. I have no problems with the tape breakdown, but you do also have to recognize that if somebody wants to tell a story, it's a great way to do so is by manipulating tape in a manner that tells that story. I'll throw that there too. But before I pass over to Chris, I will also say that Phil cuts tape very well, and he's one of those guys, and one of the reasons why I started doing stuff like this because of his tape breakdowns.
Well, I'm not looking. I'm not. Don't get this taken the wrong way. I'm not criticizing anybody's tape breakdowns. I'm saying that when you hear people that are breaking down tapes sitting here telling you that they know what progression, you can just surmise, some things when you look at a progression of a play. You can look at the route concept sometimes, and you can kind of tell sometimes where the play progression should be, but not all the time. And so these people come up with these, they put these compilations together and make it look like this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and not really knowing what the hell he's looking at and supposed to be. You don't know where the guy's eyes are supposed to be on each particular play. I seen when I saw Coach T do the interview with Avery. I think his name is Quincy Avery. I was so glad that he said that. When you hear all these complaints about Justin can't read defenses, he doesn't know how to go through his progression. I'm just going to tell you guys as a podcast and an ex-football player, when you hear people saying stuff like that, hurry up and start turning that crap off, because they don't know what the hell Justin Fields is listening to and what he's being told in the huddle, what his coach is telling him, where his eyes should be. And half the game is about eye discipline when you're playing quarterback, where your eyes need to be as you're dropping back on your drop back. Who's the first person you need to be looking at? Who's the second person? All in timing and all in rhythm, which is the West Coast offense. And so people are just, basically, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, people are shaking y'all down, having y'all believe that they know what they're talking about. They don't. And I'm not talking about nobody's network. I'm just talking about your average person with the all 22. That's just enough information to hurt yourself with. You really don't know unless you're there. Period.
Well, I'm scared to talk. I'm scared to talk now.
What? He's right though. Without understanding or really knowing what the offensive.
Well, I've always said, you can't look through the quarterback's eyes and see what he's not looking at. What we do know is all quarterbacks miss throws. We saw that in the Super Bowl. We saw Mahomes miss his guy there coming across the middle. He could have won the game on that throw. He ended up winning it, but all quarterbacks miss throws. What we do know is that Justin Fields, and we've heard everybody say it, he's got rare talent. And I've said this before, what do you do with rare talent? Do you cut it? No, you coach it. And that's what he's not received. So the comparisons are moot at this point. And they were moot before. It's really what Ryan Poles thought, and because he's the man in the job. So, we've dealt the hand we've got now, and I'm gonna be excited for it. I want to see the kid, if we do indeed draft him, I want to see him come out and throw for 4,000 yards and be the Michael Jordan that they say he can be. I definitely want that. But, I'm gonna always think about six first and second round picks.
Yeah.
I gotta give. If you, Nick, if you can pull up Illinois Jones's comment that I just started, I gotta give Illinois his just due on this. Illinois Jones says, but he made the throw, and Justin wouldn't.
No, you can't say that. Justin has made.
Well, hold on. There's times, but this goes back to me. Illinois Jones is right. This goes back to me hearing Flus saying, I remember this in the presser specifically. that they kind of coached him to not make the throw if he wasn't sure. And I could see that in his play.
Well, that would be defective coaching. That would be
Yeah.
malpractice.
They y'all ever realize when they hit Flus was talking about the 200, the rule? Remember that? The 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, 0 turnovers. Y'all didn't ever hear him say that?
Yeah, I think I've heard him say
Yeah, so I feel like you say, the biggest difference is freedom. You know what I'm saying? Justin Fields was coached to do certain things, and when it wasn't there, he didn't feel comfortable enough. Probably didn't feel comfortable enough to.
Well, and he said that. He said that earlier in the season at the press conference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like Justin Fields, it was the freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I say, it's playing football. It's plays, but it's also improvisation. You know what I'm saying? So what if Justin Fields was coached out of his improvisation? Oh, you run, and only thing he knew to do was save his own life was to run.
What is the one thing that we're so wowed besides his arm strength with Caleb Williams? Is his his playmaking, his improvisation. That's the other thing. They look, the stuff that I don't think it's translatable to the NFL. Certainly not the way he was doing it in college. These are the big boys. They'll run you down. So yeah. I mean, why are we still talking about Justin? I'm leaving.
Yes, we do have another little super chat right quick.
Oh, did I miss?
Yeah, we missed one.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit of love from Black Diamond. He knows what it is.
Petty, what it is, man.
He knows what it is. Give Petty a little bit of love in the chat. So
man, every dollar counts, man. We respect all contributions, man. We need every little bit we can get, and we respect every last single nickel. So appreciate you for that. And so, guys, how about this, Chris? Let's take a quick station ID and jump right back on this after that.
The best Chicago Bears content anywhere. Catch Nomad live pregame 1 hour prior to kickoff, and Nomad at Night postgame. And every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Central on all the most popular streaming platforms. And only on the Nomad Network.
That is right. Mr. J. Red, Mr. Nick D'Alessandro, we need you to get all your friends and your family members to jump in and give us a quick sub, man. We can use all the support that we can get, man. We're growing this thing into what we want it to be. And behind the scenes, I wish you could know everything that we're doing, but you cannot know that yet. But we are doing quite a bit to grow this channel and to help people out. We're a brand that's, basically we're Similac babies. Basically, we still got Similac, and we're growing, man. We haven't even gotten on our knees to start to crawl yet. And once we do that and start to actually get up and move around on 2 legs and really start to function as a channel and a network, you're going to see this thing grow. You're going to see more people involved. You're going to see different content. We've got stuff in the pipeline. I've been saying it for weeks, months. And I'm telling you, merchandising, everything, you're going to see the whole repertoire that the Nomad Network can bring to you. And so I'm going to ask you guys to please keep up the subscriptions. Please keep up the likes. Please keep up your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think about what we're doing. But more importantly, please don't get this twisted because Justin Fields in Chicago and these guys don't know what they're talking about is what I've heard people are saying. Don't get that twisted because we're going to be way more right than when we get something left. I can promise you that. Anybody could have got this wrong with Justin Fields. If that's a reason for not subscribing to the channel or we lost your subscription because of that, hey, you know what, man? I don't have anything to say to that. I'll tell you the truth, man. I don't really know what to tell somebody for that. But, beside all that, we're going to root for this team because this is the team that we love. And we love you guys' support, man. And every single one of you, man, I can't.
I'd say they were never loyal to begin with, if that's the case.
They could have been, but they could not have been. So, that is what it is. And we'll leave that where it is, man. And just keep up the support. And we can get you guys to get your friends and your families, get people to subscribe to the channel. You're going to be pleasantly surprised at what we have planned and what's going to come out of this network. You will see. And so, guys, let's get back on subject. because J Red, I see you over there, man. I think it feels like I feels like you're ready to keep rooting for this team and get us where we need to be. It's still going to be a little sting left over from the way your guy was treated, the way our guy was treated.
Yeah.
It's going to be there, but it ain't going to stop you from being a Bears fan in total, is it?
No, I was born in it. I'm dying in it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just it's just it, how it is with me. I was born in it. I'm gonna die in it. You know what I'm saying? So I love the Bears with all my heart. You know what I'm saying? But I've been through way worse times than this. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? As a Chicago Bears fan, I just like I say I love the way he's actually building his team. Like outside the Justin Fields thing, I love the way he's really building it. He's building it slow. He's not getting us any bad contracts. You know what I'm saying? So everything he do, if it goes wrong, we can get out of it. You know. So I'm not mad at how he's building this house. It's gonna be a beautiful house. Caleb Williams, if he's the cook, I just want some good food. That's all I want. I just want to come in the kitchen and eat some good food. As long as the food, they say winning is the solver. That's food. I'll come in the house and get some good food. I don't care with everything else that goes on. So that's really it. It's not the fact that it's Caleb Williams, Justin Fields. No, it's Caleb Williams is our guy now. And hey, it's not a bad guy to have. You know, it's not a bad guy to have.
No, it's not. And so Nick, here's my thing. This was my thing, and I'm like Chris going into this situation before everything transpired with the quarterback. My biggest concern, Nick, and I don't know how much in depth you've looked at the roster and looked at the depth that we have. My concern, I think we were good on the top side of the roster. So that means your first team players. I think we're good from 1 to pretty much 53 on the first team. So we got 22 guys. For the most part, we feel pretty decent about. We feel pretty, and some parts you feel really good about at some positions. But there are some holes in this roster that I'm still not good with. You know, I don't know how you see it, but do you see some of those holes and where they might be?
Yeah, that's what scares me about them having only 4 draft picks, is because we have some holes with defensive end. We could probably use another defensive tackle with Justin Jones moving on. We need some more wide receivers, just because we do have the 2 number 1s, but behind that we got Tyler Scott and Velus Jones. It'd be nice to get one more young, promising wide receiver in the house. I would say the only position I feel comfortable with depth is cornerback and safety at this point. Just because that's where Poles has been building up, the last couple of years. So, he's probably going to do some moving back, but, those are the areas I see.
Go ahead, kid. You got anything about the depth or?
You know me, he kind of touched on wide receiver there. I would really be looking primarily at center.
Yeah,
safety, right? Center, safety, left tackle, wide receiver, defensive end, and 3 tech in that, more or less in that order. But I like at this point, just with the number of picks that he has allotted to him, your guess is as good as mine as to what he's going to wind up doing to secure that, that property. And that's the only little thing that irks me about this maneuver is that, in my opinion, he was in a position where he could have stockpiled a whole bunch of picks and then addressed, like, if Justin failed in 2024, he could just address quarterback next season. And the question is really, is there a quarterback of note next season? I'm not all that familiar at this present time, so I don't know. Maybe more than maybe. I assume that Ryan Poles and his staff knows full well what that landscape is for quarterback versus this year's quarterback. Caleb is the leading guy this year and potentially next. In some people's opinions, he's the best quarterback they've ever seen, according to some folks. And if that's the case, that's pretty nuts, and that's a hard thing to pass up. So. hopefully we build a goal strong. All I got to say. Well, let me also just say that I just at this point I don't expect those holes to be filled this season. I expect them to be filled next
J Red, my whole my dilemma, and it would be the same dilemma. I would be having this. I'd be singing the same song if Justin Fields was still here. If they drafted another quarterback, if it wasn't Caleb Williams, whoever the quarterback is, I have a problem with the bargain bin hunting of the offensive line. I really got a serious problem with that about how they're addressing the offensive line, and they only have 4 more picks. You pretty much they pretty much cleared the deck of the high talent in the free agency market, and you're still in the bargain basement on the offensive line. Man, I think there's a reason why San Francisco, when they were building that roster, got off to a flying start. They made a huge trade for Trent. What's his name? What's Trent's last name? The big offensive tackle, Trent Williams. They made a huge trade to protect the quarterback's backside. Had they not made that trade, I don't think San Francisco was this far down the line. They would have got a dominant piece, and they didn't care how they had to do it. They would have got a dominant piece to protect that quarterback's blind side, and they were off and running. And so, how do you feel about how they've addressed the offensive line so far?
Have they really though? Yeah. Have they really addressed it? You got Ryan Bates. I mean, you really. I just want to see him just go get some quality starters, not backups. So hopefully we can turn them into a starter. I want to see some for sure things. That's it. Just we haven't made a trade or got a for sure thing offensive line since last year since Darnell Wright. That's the only for sure thing. Our offensive line came together. Okay, Nate Davis played okay, but we could do so much better. You know what I'm saying? And then he was hurt a lot of the year, so we really ain't really seen him for sure a whole season yet. Tevin Jenkins, he just stays hurt. We need depth behind him. He stays hurt. His back, I don't know how long his back, how many games his back gonna hold up. So and then Braxton Jones, he's the most durable one, but you push him, he gonna fall into the quarterback lap most of the time. So I just feel like we need to go get a for sure starter on the offensive line. Like even if it's at 9, get a for sure piece on the offense line. Or we could make a trade. We can't really trade anything now because we don't have anything to trade. That's it. It's just I just want something for sure. We feel like Caleb Williams is for sure. I just want a for sure piece on the offensive line. That's it. And then another piece on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. And I feel like this team can reach some major heights, at least 10 games, 10 to 12, 10 to 11 games, at least.
Go ahead and jump on that, kids, if you want to do this.
Yeah, I got it. Our guy, Kerry Franklin, really hitting it up today. Enough respect, Kerry. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for all your support. At 9, he says, take Turner or Alt if available. If not, trade down and get some picks. If the Bears walk away with Caleb Williams, Alt, or Turner, a receiver, and O-line in the 3rd and 4th, the Bears hit a grand slam with Sweat, Bates, and a free agent. And what do you think, Nomad? I can't agree. I can't argue with that.
All right, I'm gonna read this again. Take at 9, take Turner or Alt if available. If not, trade down and get some picks. If the Bears walk away with Caleb Williams, Alt, or Turner, a receiver and an offensive lineman in the 3rd and the 4th, the Bears hit a grand slam with Sweat, Bates, and you know what, Kerry? Man, thank you for the chat, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the comment. That's a lot of ifs, man. That's a lot of ifs. But that's very possible now. With that being said, it's very possible. My thing is, Kerry, I would say this, and this is just my opinion about me looking at tape and viewing the draft as a whole. And I've said this multiple times on the show. The positions that I see as the strength of the draft are tackle, particularly offensive tackle, particularly receiver. Now, somebody in an NFL front office would argue me and tell me that the offensive tackle market in the draft is so rich. It's almost I think there's probably about 10, 15 tackles in that draft, whether it be a left tackle or a right tackle, that I think that almost can't miss prospects. As I could say about the same thing almost with the receivers. After about 5 to 7 to 8, maybe 10 receivers that go, it gets a little bit lean after that. I think it's a lot of projects after that. But I think what you got here's what I would say to you, Kerry, is I don't know if you looked at the DJ Moore interview on 670 The Score, but that cat ain't happy about what just happened. He is not happy at all, and he's coming up on a contract. There'll be an opportunity sometime during the season to get him on an extension, and depending on how well this thing goes, I think that determines whether or not we keep DJ Moore. That's number one. Number two, we have a 31 getting ready to be 32-year-old Keenan Allen, and so you have to consider that. Unless you think that right now we have a team that can go right now and make a absolute run at the Super Bowl right now with the rookie quarterback. Unless you think that, I believe they need to bolster that receiver core. I think that should be the first pick. One of those top-notch receivers. You might not get the offensive lineman that you're looking for, but there's going to be some players that come beneath some of those top 2, 3, 4 guys that's going to be able to be some solid pieces for a long time for some teams. And that's what I would do, Kerry, if that answers your question. So what do you guys think about that, Nick? What do you think about that, the choices that he has and what he should do with that pick?
That's what I keep going back and forth on with the 9. I'd like them to trade back and get more picks.
That's it.
Just because we need defensive end, we need some more offensive linemen. We need a wide receiver. I have a feeling that if one of those top defensive ends or offensive linemen, or maybe the receiver is there at 9, they might take them. But I think it just depends on if they decide someone's a blue chip and they can't pass them. I really don't know. I have a feeling he'll trade it, though. I got a strong feeling he'll trade it. I'd be shocked if he kept number 9.
What you think, Jay?
If I'm him, I'm going blue chip. If it's somebody there, we can't miss them. We can't miss them. I mean, but if the 3 big receivers go, and if the 3 big receivers go, and then the end go, and look, trade back, get some pick. We gotta build somewhere. You gotta have more swings at the bat. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have more swings at that. I feel like it's too many holes to fix with. Definitely holes to fix with just 4 picks. It's just the truth. So that's what we need to fix. I feel like if going off what we know about him so far, it's a trade back coming from somewhere. It's just based on where he loves to trade back. He loves to acquire more picks. I feel like it's going to come somewhere. I don't know if it comes at 9. Hopefully we get a couple more. You know what I'm saying, 1 or 2 extra picks. But I feel like if it's a blue chip there. Blue chip. That's what we need. We need blue chip.
Go ahead, Chris. I see you in there.
Okay, my question is this: which scenario holds more value? Say we draft Caleb Williams, we trade the 9 back to 13, 14, pick up. I guess maybe we might be able to get a second. So we're drafting Caleb. Now we have the 14th pick and a second, or trading the number 1 to Washington, picking up two second rounders and a first rounder next year, moving to 2, picking up Jaden Williams. So now we have Jaden Williams 9, 36, 40, and a first next year.
Jaden Daniels.
What did I say?
Jaden Williams.
I don't even know who that is. Oh, that's the safety at Washington, I believe. Anyway, I mean, which one of those scenarios has more value?
Run it one more time.
Is it that big of a difference between Jaden Daniels and Caleb to forsake those. Let me see. You talking about Jaden, the number 2 at number 2. You're picking up number 36, number 40, and a first rounder next year, plus Jaden Daniels, or Caleb, number 14, and a second this year.
Chris, now that would depend on who you are asking. Now, and I'm
asking whoever.
I'm gonna respond to you. I'm gonna respond to you because there's a difference between, and I'm not casting no dispersions against anybody. I don't tell nobody how to be a fan, but there are people like me that have problems that are addicted to watching film. You know, people that really scour the film for the, trying to find if there's a difference between the two quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, that's all we have is the film.
Yeah, and what I would tell you is, no, there's not a lot of big difference between those two guys.
Well, so my question was, which scenario provides more value?
You already know the answer to that.
Well, no, I'm asking everybody. I know my answer, but I was trying to get because all our concentration is now on the number 9 pick. Okay, we'll pick up a second. That'd be cool. We'll have 4 picks. We'll have 5 picks then if we pick up a second and move back to 14, say. Or we in the other scenario we still get a top-notch college quarterback and we secured all these other picks, 2 firsts. We still have we have our number 9 pick and a first next year. Might even be able to get more than that because Washington wants Caleb. They want Caleb. It's a storybook ending.
Here's the problem, Chris.
Hometown boy comes home, saves the team. Say what now?
Here's the problem. I think Poles wants him that bad too.
Well, he might. I'm saying we're still in the business of assumption because that possibility still does exist that he might trade number 1.
I can't see. I mean, I can't.
He'll get crucified if he does that.
Yeah, that's death. That's
why? Well, hold on. Why would he get crucified?
Well, that's why I posed the question.
Didn't ask me, damn it, Chris. I asked that.
No. But they never answered my first question.
Okay, I'll answer your first question. I don't watch tape or I don't watch college football. If all things were equal, so if Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels were equal, then obviously trading out of the first and going to the second would have more value. But like I said, I don't watch tape. I listen to shows like your guys is to get insight on some of these college players because I don't watch college football or tape.
Wow.
Okay. But I'll tell you right now, he'll get crucified if he trades that first pick because that's pretty much the assumption that's going to happen if he does that. I just have a feeling that's going to happen. I mean, if he were to do that,
it probably will. It probably will. But I
but you asked a specific question, Chris.
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to know which one you guys felt had more value, because I mean, if we all agree that has more value, getting Jaden and the extra picks. I mean, to me, that's what it's about, getting the best value.
Well, I'm saying only if they were equal quarterbacks. Like I said, I'm not saying they're equal.
Well, and I guess I assumed you had an opinion on which one you liked most.
No, I mean, honestly, I've been growing with Caleb more and more just because I've been hearing more about him. I've heard a little bit about Jaden, but I'm kind of on the Caleb bandwagon right now just because of what I've been hearing since the trade and everything like that. So, but like I said, I don't watch tape. I don't watch college football. It's just what I'm hearing. So,
Jay, where are you at? Which one has the most value for you?
The most value. You get more. I say you get more by trading, but the value. I feel like he's a better quarterback. So the value is back in the quarterback. So I feel like
Caleb
will win.
Okay.
Caleb will win. I
thought we already dispelled that with the Aaron Rodgers Eli comparison. Good teams win. Good quarterbacks help win. Great quarterbacks help win. Takes a team. NFL is the most, 11 individual parts moving at once. If one goes out of fault, that's the whole thing up.
The Chicago Bears ain't never been 11 men.
I know you starved, man. Y'all young ones are starved. You never seen the championship. I seen one.
Yeah, what I'm saying? That's just it, man. Like we never had a team with a good 11. So right now the value is, I mean, the face value is that we can see right now is Caleb. That's probably the best value that we can see. The young guys. You know what I'm
The
saying?
optics. It's the optics. The optics.
Yeah.
Man, I love the chat sometimes, man. We got JD every day riling it up, and Hendricks getting all PO'd in there. He's getting at him, and Zeno Tennant, and I know who you are, Zeno Tennant. I know who you is. You know what I mean? In any event, good to see you back, and it's cool. People can like Daniels too. Don't get too riled up, you Caleb guys. It's so funny, man. It to me, this whole situation at this point is hilarious. I don't think I know where Chris is, you know, from a value perspective, and I kind of agree from a value perspective at a 1,000-foot view. But then when you zero in and you stop and you recognize that value is something that is determined, much like beauty, by the beholder. And if Ryan Poles is that beholder, and he's got goo goo gaga eyes, you know, like them cartoons back in the day, like hearts for eyes for Caleb, it's a wrap. And I kind of think we're getting real close to like, you know, this is like a bad episode of Pepe Le Pew. I just hope it all, you know what I mean? I hope it all shakes out the right way, and the chick ain't running away from Pepe like the chick's into it. That's never how those episodes go, though.
Well, you know, Pepe was a rapist.
Hey, wait a second. He was a therapist. He was a therapist.
Chris,
Pepe
you can't
Le
say
Pew was
that
a
kind of stuff when you're
What?
monitoring.
Pepe Le Pew was.
You can't say
Nothing
Hey, all I got-
He was
Nothing.
a predator.
Hey, all I gotta say-
Watch the film.
Oh my god!
Warner Brothers those are great cartoons. Those are great
How about
cartoons.
Hey, all I got.
There's one last element to talk about when it comes to this conversation about that. That is, there is a world where he could really change everything in his virtues and whether or not he wants to come here. And, you know,
Who, Caleb?
Yes, he can absolutely mess this up for Poles if he wanted to. If he really, really wanted to, he could absolutely make this difficult for Ryan Poles. But I think at the end of the day, I'll let you guys respond to in ways. What way do you think that he can mess this up for him? But at the end of the day, I think if I'm Poles, I have to draft him. Why? Because at the end of the day, if you really want him, you're going to have to do a pick swap anyway to take him from me if he doesn't really want to be here. If I find out that he doesn't, I'm going to draft him anyway and make you have to do things to come and get him. And that's where I'm at with it.
You crazy now. That's
No,
just
you
crazy.
got to. You got to. It's a valuable piece. What are you going to do?
You're going to pick the kid knowing he don't want to play here.
And make them come and trade to get him.
I think Caleb's dispelled all that from what I've seen, unless he's just a very
Billy
good
Ocean,
salesman.
me too, Billy Ocean. I'm with you, Billy. Caribbean Queen, really. In any, I'm just saying. I don't think that, like, so here's the problem with doing that. In doing that, you've basically you've given up any level of leverage that you might have actually had. You know, what are you going to get for Caleb at that point? Basically, you're going to get whoever, you know, Washington picked, if that's what happens. And this is where I am with all this, right? Like, at some point during these conversations that you know, that Caleb Williams is going to have with the Bears, some point during those conversations, by all means, bro, if you don't want to come to Chicago, you just let the guy know and he won't pick you. It's we're at that point, right? Like, if you don't want to come to Chicago, tell the guy. He'll go, okay, cool, it's cool. We'll figure something out. Where do you want to go? Let me fleece that guy. And it's a lot easier in that scenario. At this point, I think we're kind of
at that point, though, kids. They can lowball them once they realize that, okay, you're gonna have to do something else. They can lowball them. You gotta make them get you what you
but who's
have to get.
But hold on, but who's they? If Poles has the number one pick, he doesn't have to send Caleb to Washington, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the who's they comes into play. If that's on the table and Caleb's like, look, I don't want to come to Chicago, and Washington's lowballing him, he can call up he can call Las Vegas. Oh, hey Vegas, do you want to come down? Because I like clearly you're going to give me more than I'm getting from Magic Johnson. And you just wash your hands of the deal, you move off, and you get something else. Like maybe that's too far. Maybe you're talking to the Patriots to keep you really still in the mix. But you don't cave. It's a negotiation. You have to masterfully step through those negotiations. Realistically, at this point, I would like to think that conversation should have been had last Tuesday. It should have been guys, you know what? Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I don't think I want to go to Chicago. Cool. We'll figure our way around it.
Truthfully, go ahead, Jay.
If I'm Ryan Post, I'm gonna pretend I'm Suge Knight, and I'm telling him he's signed to Death Row. He coming. You coming with me. I'm just, and if they want to come get
Chain on him.
I love Jay's references, man. I like that.
He's doing a great job today, right?
Yeah, I love
the
those
trap house.
the pop culture references. I love it.
Girl,
Yeah.
that ain't pop culture. That's a whole other culture.
Yeah, well.
No.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, there's no way Caleb's not going to be a Bear. You know, there's no way. Like what Ked said, and even what Biggs has been reporting about the meetings and everything like that, it just seems like it's a sealed deal. It's just everybody's keeping their mouth shut because the NFL doesn't want them spoiling anything. Caleb's keeping it cool. All the interviews that you see him on, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're going to be going with the Bears," and he's, you can tell he could tell he knows, but he's just playing it off.
All right. Let's say this, man, because this needs to be out there in the atmosphere, and all the people that get mad and when I say things contrary to what your virtues are right now, just hold your fire, man. Just hold it. Listen, there's a locker room dynamic here that hasn't really been necessarily addressed, and I said this beforehand, before this whole situation played out. I said that this locker room built up some great harmony. And me being a person that I'm so in touch, that's the thing I missed about football the most is the locker room and the camaraderie you build, man. You talking about brotherhood for life type stuff that goes on. This stuff that goes on in the locker room becomes sacred. And when I say sacred, I mean like you take this man to meet your mom and eat your mom's cooking, and you trust him in a room by himself with your wife because he loves you that much that he will never cross that boundary. Those are the type of connections that are built in the locker room. And when you have something built the way we had built, you were taking an absolute risk. The minute you found out that this locker room and the players, DJ said it, wanted this quarterback, and he went completely opposite of that. You took the risk. And I think that now, me saying that, I do believe that there's enough professionals in that locker room that they will march on. But if the thing doesn't go right, and I mean quickly, there is a way that this can go completely left. When I say completely left, I mean completely. If this thing doesn't get off to a rocking start, and these people don't start feeling like they're getting their money's worth with this quarterback, and versus what we had going on with the quarterback that we had, this thing can go another direction. I'm just telling you. And so I just want to get people's reaction to that. Anybody?
Oh, okay. Man, the locker room is gonna take some time. But like I say, DJ Moore, he is a threat to leave us now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not certainly happy. If that's his guy, that's what most of you don't understand is like, bro, like they seen Justin Fields. They know the real. The ones who know the real, they know the real. So that's why they have his back. Why do you think they got his back? They know what's really going on, and they see that if they see him getting done wrong, they know what's going on. How do you think that's gonna make them ultimately feel? They can say all of things like, yeah, nah, everything is business, or we just gonna move passes, but they remember that. And then what makes you think they're gonna give you the chance to do them the same way if they can get a chance to get up out of there? But you gotta he has to manage that. Like I say, Justin Fields, he was their leader. He seen them get sacked 9 times in one game. They seen that. They seen them coach him out practices. They seen Eberflus blow two fourth quarter leads this year. They seen that. And they didn't blame it on Justin, but like I said, they knowing this is being it's a scapegoat. Look, hey, listen, I can't say nothing, but man, hopefully Caleb Williams come in here and he does his job and do it fast, because other than that, like I say, there are so many threats of the top players that really was on his side not signing extensions or going somewhere else just off the strength of that.
So
I got
hold on. So sometimes Hendrix is on it, and
sometimes
we go back and forth sometimes in the chat, me and you, Hendrix. But I think you're on it here. Reality is we actually don't need DJ Moore.
Whoa! Hold up! Hell no! What is wrong with you and Hendrix?
I'm out. That's crazy.
What is wrong with y'all?
You want to know why it ain't? Relax, everybody. Take it easy.
What's wrong with y'all?
I like
it's on this Sunday night. Take it easy. It's the off season. Here's the facts of the matter. In like, by the time that it actually matters, if he wants to leave, he's basically free to leave. The money's just allocated elsewhere to another wide receiver. This is why he can go. Do I want DJ Moore to stay? Yes. But if he doesn't want to continue or sign on, that money will just be allocated to another wide receiver.
Well,
it's actually a wash.
What tier receiver would come after seeing that? What other tier receiver? You got to also think about that too. What other top tier receiver of that magnitude would come and come into that situation knowing that you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I hear you. It's a fair argument. It's a fair argument. I'm not sure.
Let me tell you guys.
I'm not sure Brian Bowles will be able to replace him like for like.
Let me tell you guys something real quick. And I listened to DJ in earnest when he was on 670 Squad. I was checking out for his tone, his tenor, and just to see how he was feeling about what just happened. And what he said was the players, plural, the players wanted Justin Fields back. And this was coming off of a question about the outro interviews when you're leaving and going out for the summer, and they interview the players and get a sense for what the players want. And the players wanted Justin Fields. And Hendrix, man, all respect to you, man. That is nuts. We need
it's not nuts. It's financial.
We need DJ Moore, kids. Period.
Or none of this. I'm not saying that we don't need DJ Moore. What I'm saying is strictly from a financial perspective, at that point, if we haven't extended him and he walks, he walks. Like, it's about that simple. If he walks, he walks. He has full autonomous reign to decide whether he wants to sign on and extend with us or not.
We don't need him. It's absolutely bananas.
It's not that many top 10 receivers.
Like, the fact of the matter is, this is the boat that Ryan Poles is floating in right now, right? Like, if it comes to that and DJ doesn't want to be here, Sarah, he's got to go find another guy. It's like as much as you may like him or don't like him, there's no two ways about that.
If he goes, kids. But I'm saying, let me address Kerry.
I'm saying, like, do we need a DJ Moore caliber player on this team?
We're gonna get on it right after this super chat. Kerry,
want to keep DJ Moore? Yes.
Shout out to Kerry, man, and appreciate.
Man, Kerry, you're doing us good things. Thanks for all the support today, brother. Let's get out of here, Kerry. So,
you gonna read it?
This has been a great show and a lively debate. Much appreciated, fellow Bears fans. Bear down for life. 100% across the board.
That's
Love
what it's
it, man.
all about, Kerry. All about the lively debate. That's why we do these shows, to create the lively debate. If I was sitting in a room with a bunch of my homies, man, or if I was sitting in a room with these guys, Keds is my homie now, man. That's my guy right now. And if I was sitting in a room with him, we'd be having the same conversation in the same tone and tenor. I'd be like, Keds, you have lost your GD mind right now. Talking about DJ Moore, he can go if he wants to go. He can go. No, we wouldn't be good without him.
No.
It's like I'm saying. It's just the fact of the matter that Ryan Poles has no, like, all Ryan Poles can do is put a sweet deal in front of the guy and hope he signs a piece of paper. It's about that simple. If he says, "Yeah, I don't want to do this. I want to test free agency," that's what he wants to do, and he's going to go do that if that's a scenario. right? Like
Yeah,
if this year doesn't work out,
that's not what the chat said though. The chat said we don't need him,
That
and
was Hendricks.
we do need.
but that was in response to what Nomad was saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but yeah, we need him.
I'd like
That's
again.
not-
I'm not saying I don't want the guy on the team and he's a bad player or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if we get to the point where we have to re-sign him, which is coming, I believe, next season, right? And the next season, and if he doesn't want to be here, all the marble, like it's all in his court, right? He makes that decision. Yeah, I want to be a Bear. I'm going to extend. No, I don't like what was going on here. I'm out of here. It's on him.
That's bad.
Like, I'm
That's
not
bad
even
for
sure if we can
business.
franchise tag him at that point.
That-
I don't think
that-
we can.
Go ahead, Jay.
That's kind of bad for business though, because it's not too many top 10 receivers in the league that want to come to the Chicago Bears. We need.
Well,
him.
if Caleb starts winning and balling out, they will.
Yeah, and that's the only way. That's the only way things.
You know?
That's the only thing. That's the only way things remain copacetic, Nick.
Well,
Is if he turns everything on its head and says, you know what, I know Justin was your guy. I know y'all really put on for him, but you know I'm going to prove this GM right, and I'm gonna come in here and show y'all guys, you know, that I ain't nobody's stepchild. You know what I mean? So he's gonna have to come in. He's coming in with a lot of expectations on him, Nick. But I think he has the tool, he has the skill set to make it all right. And so that's, I think, what Ryan Poles is banking on, is he has the tools and the skill set to make him right. And so
yeah.
Go ahead and respond to that if you want.
Oh no, I was just going to say, supposedly when they were interviewing him at the combine, he said, "Do you guys want to win?" You know, Caleb pretty much told them that. And not only that, but he's also said that he wants to be great. He wants to have, you know, he wants to leave a legacy. He's got the right mindset. You know, I think he definitely has to be a little humble with the veterans to make sure that he, gratiates himself with them. But one thing that Komet said on the CHGO podcast was he didn't like the fact that Justin was gone and that there might be some emotions right now in the building. But the fact that the off season's a little long, he thinks a lot of the players are going to, you know, it's going to soften up as it gets closer to the OTAs and stuff like that. So I think it's just, you know, yeah, people aren't happy, but it's business is business, like a lot of them have said. And as long as Caleb comes in and he does what he needs to do and he doesn't burn any bridges, I think everything's gonna be just fine. So
I'm banking on that thought that you just said, that Cole Komet, and he's right about that. You know, just the extended period of time that people have, just like we are as a fan base, you know, just letting the sting of it settle and just getting over the emotions of it all and getting back to the actual football and what this guy that's made the decision thinks works for this team. He's thinking he's making the best decision for the Bears. And so I think that has to settle with a lot of the players too. And so it's as much time as they have, this is what I know what will happen. Just from what I know from experience. What they're gonna do right away is look at him side-eyed. They're gonna, you know, ingratiate themselves with him. They're gonna dap him up and say, "Hey man, we're gonna roll with you, Rook. You know, do your thing." But the minute and the second that it gets sideways and it gets to a point where, you know what, we gonna challenge you, we gonna push you, and you start responding to it the wrong way, dog, it's gonna be some smoke. It's gonna be some smoke, and it's gonna be one of those closed locker room. Coaches, you stay your ASS out there. GM, you stay outside, and we got to get with this. We're gonna have to deal with this straight up. And that's what happens in locker rooms, man. There's so many things that happen that don't ever get to see the light of day, and they shouldn't, because it's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people shouldn't be privy to. And that means if I gotta walk up to you and I gotta threaten to smack you in your mouth, or if I actually have to smack you in your mouth, hopefully we'll never get to that point. But those are the things that happens in locker rooms. It's real hands that get thrown in there. You know what I mean? Because you know, it's just what it is, man. And he's got to ingratiate himself that way and keep guys off of him. There's no player in there that's going to be like, no, you can't touch him. No, this is what the GM said we was going to do. This is what we're going to do. And so he's fair game in there. He's fair game in there. He's got to ingratiate himself with the locker room. They don't have to do that with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he's got to understand walking through the door. Anybody can go.
Exactly.
He just got a ball, man. He just got a ball, and don't come in there like he's better than it. You can't come in there like you better than the last. Just go in there and be. He got to come in there and be him. Caleb can't. I feel like he gonna be good, but it's a lot of pressure, not from the outside but from the inside. Because if he don't, he can lose the locker room fast, or he can win it fast. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that's the pressure. He can lose or win the locker room as fast as he keep walking through the door. That just is what it is. They already don't want it now. When you walk into a room full of people that don't like you, you can do something, the slightest thing, and they don't want you there even more. But you can come in there and change their minds. Then look, man, hey, if he can go in there and change their mind and win them over, then that he deserves to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. That's just it.
So, hey, you know what, guys? It's the whole thing is all projection, all of it. Every last single bit of what we're talking about today is projection and the possibilities. What could happen? You know, this thing could go absolutely peachy keen, and absolutely the way Ryan Poles, and I hope it does, the way Ryan Poles has this thing cooked up, and I hope it does. I think Caleb has a unique skill set. It's his throwing motion more than anything else. It's he's feisty too, man. I like that about him, man. He's not a scrub out there that kind of shies away from contact or anything like that. I do like that about him. He's not a physically intimidated football player. He stays in the pocket and he runs when he absolutely has to. There's another advantage I would give him as opposed to Justin Fields, who was starting to get that later on during the season, towards the latter half of the season. He was starting to stay in the pocket with a purpose to throw the ball instead of choosing to run. If he didn't like what he was seeing, boom, he'd just take off. Caleb Williams stays in the pocket, and he only runs when he feels he needs to. Caleb Williams will stand in that pocket probably to a fault, and the speed of an NFL defense versus a college defense, he'll learn that hopefully real quick, and understand that you don't have the leeway that you had in college to sit there and just kind of wait for something to develop. You got to let that thing go or run. And I think Justin Fields came to that conclusion, but then he started to refine it towards the end. But that's one of the things I would say about Caleb Williams is an advantage that he had over Justin Fields, is his willingness to try to stay in there to make a play that might not have been there early on in the progression. And so, go ahead, Jay.
When people say that, Nomad, bro, I feel like how much willingness would you have if you get sacked 50, 60 times?
Yes.
You know, how much willingness would you want to stand in the pocket? And then we forget that Justin Fields was a pocket passer in college, just like Caleb Williams was. He was not a runner. He was not considered a running quarterback in college. He wasn't.
He threw a lot more in this first year under Nagy, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. He was not a running quarterback until he had to run. Until there was nothing. Until Justin Fields was in a river by himself with a paddle in his hands, with a boat in his hands, paddles. Like that's all he had himself. He figured the way to get down that river. You cannot fault him for that. You can't. I can't. I don't like what people they're using that against him because he was not a pocket passer in college. Go back and watch his highlights. Not you. You know what I'm saying? I know you know, but those who think he was, go back and watch his tape. He had Chris Olave and all them. Come on, man. Like when he
Jay, I'm glad you pointed that out, man, because you're absolutely right. I did not consider in what I just said the offensive line and the offensive lines that he's dealt with since he's been there. I did not consider that when I said that. You're absolutely right. There's a big difference, huge difference.
That's all. Because Justin Fields, I feel like he was on his way to being a good because he adapted to what he needed to. He adapted whenever he ran out of necessity. Because trust me, if he stayed in the pocket, he's gonna die. It's like if he stayed behind. He had nobody to throw to.
Yeah.
And then his offensive line was bad. So I don't know how much more you want from as a passer, and you gave him one weapon and he improved as a passer. That's not an anomaly, guys. You know, he got Darnell Mooney was having a good year his second year until he got hurt. You know, Darnell Mooney took a step back this year because he was still gimping and running. If you pay attention to how he ran, he was still gimping a little bit. That's why he wasn't didn't have a big year this year, and he got one weapon. He had one weapon, and he had his career year. The one weapon Justin Fields has had in his NFL career has had his career year. I don't understand why people would just throw that out the window.
How about this, man? Because we did this. This was more or less a ritual for, we've already done this as a panel and as a host and co-host. We've already done this. What we wanted to do is give the viewers of the show who've been watching us from afar a chance to speak their minds about, what they thought about the whole situation. And all the people in there just talking about, we still talking about Justin Fields, yes. Because, we got viewers that wanted to express themselves about how they felt about it. However, that part set to the side, now we're going to move on without Justin Fields. And here we're going to have a rookie here coming up real soon. And we're getting ready to come into a season faster than you guys think. With the rookie quarterback, no matter who he is, whether it's Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, or whoever that quarterback that is coming in here. We'll start with kids. What is the realistic expectation for this quarterback, wins and losses?
So here's what it looks like, right? So unfortunately, Matt Eberflus has lost one, if not 10, too many games. So he needs to keep himself in good standing, A, with the fans, B, with Ryan Poles very specifically, right? So that's important to take into account. The reality here is that Caleb probably has to win somewhere in around, 9 at the least, 11 at the best games this coming season, and hopefully this team is a playoff caliber team. Now, I'm also going to factor in the strength of the North right now. I think Minnesota might be a little bit challenged this coming season. And, I say that now, and I know Justin Jefferson's situation is kind of in the balance right now. Nobody knows what's happening there unless something's happening and I don't know. But they may be a little bit challenged. But the other two teams, they're definitely in the mix, right? The Packers ain't going nowhere. Their quarterback's good. Let's admit it. Same things are to be said over in Detroit too, right? Brad Holmes, Don Burr, Jahmyr Gibbs. In any event, right? Like there's competition in the North, so it's going to be a tough slog to get into the playoffs out of the North. So I think we might be able to beat Detroit 1 out of 2, maybe 2 out of 2. So far, we haven't proven we can beat the Packers. So there's some questions there, right? So that's what the expectation looks like to me. I don't know about the rest of you gentlemen. Nick, what do you think?
I think 10 is a good number to look at. I do think we will beat Detroit. They showed last year they should have beat them twice, but let that one game get away. Minnesota, they're going to have a new quarterback this year. So I think we might have a good shot. Green Bay, I won't say we're going to win until we actually start seeing it, because every time they are beating them, Green Bay comes back and beats us. So, but I think overall, I think we'll do better than last year. And there'll be more positive signs. So,
what do you think, Jay?
I feel like we was a 10-win season, 10-win team last year, barring the three mess ups. That's 2 of them was coaching, so that's 9. So we should at least get that. So I feel like Caleb Williams' floor, it should be CJ. It should be CJ Stroud. That should be his floor. He has better receivers. He has 2 number ones. He has 2 good tight ends. He should have a good running game behind him, and a top 10 defense. It's 10. Bro, CJ Stroud should be the floor. That should be the floor.
Okay.
CJ Stroud should be the floor. What did CJ? How many games did he win last year? Anybody know?
I'm talking about numbers wise, wins wise. I'm talking about his numbers wise.
You're talking about Caleb's numbers should look like CJ
Yeah.
Stroud's numbers.
Yeah.
Oh boy, those are
Yeah.
pretty good numbers.
Yeah, that's what
I'm just putting it out there. Like I had CJ Stroud on my fantasy team last season. I decided to pick him up in perilous, in a perilous case scenario. Wound up leading me to the playoffs. Big number.
Them numbers wise should be his floor. I feel like, yeah, at least 10 or 12. 10 or 12 should be the wins.
All right. So how about this, man? Because I think we covered everything and kind of went across the whole gambit, man. I think it's time to give some pleasantries before we get out of here. Some shout outs and just do it like we always do, kids.
Well, No Maniacs, it's been a slice. It's a Sunday. We kind of went around and back. Lots of spirited conversation in the chat. Zeno Tenant, proud of you, bro. You didn't get too you didn't go overboard this time. You kept it straight. I know a lot of folks were getting back at you. You kept it straight. Kerry Franklin with one more before we get out of here. What do we got to say, Kerry? $10 super chat. One more super chat, he says. I went to last game in Green Bay, and out the door, the Green Bay fans were chanting, "Keep Justin Fields." That should tell us everything. Interesting. You know what? Call it like it is, and you know what? I think that's a great way to end the show. Unfortunately, Mr. Fields is no longer with us. For all intents and purposes, we're moving forward with somebody else under center in 2024. I like what I see in both Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, but I think, I think Caleb's got a little something extra in him, and I also think he might be able to handle some of the scrutiny a little bit better here in Chicago than anybody else. And it's taken me a while to be able to say that. A lot of folks look at personality as being a potential issue for him. A lot of folks are worried about the fingernails and the crying and all these things. I'm not so sure I care anymore. I think that if you're making about $11 million a year, you might have a little bit of scrutiny and a little bit of eyes and public eye case scenario. People are going to be looking at you. You are a public relations issue wherever you go. He's got bodyguards and stuff like that as a young man. These are things that regular folks don't have to deal with, and I think it might bode well for him coming into Chicago. Now, let me take a step back even from that. It's going to bode well for him stepping into Chicago and dealing with the Chicago media. I don't know how well it's going to help him in the locker room, as Nomad has sort of alluded to. Double-edged sword. Lots of gray area in life. At the end of the day, I'm optimistic. I think the kid's going to do fantastic in blue and orange, and I hope everybody else does too. Nick, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, no, I'm optimistic as well. I like everything I'm seeing and hearing about Williams. He's got my support, and hey, just come in and do what you need to do and start winning. And once that starts happening, all this is going to be just history. No one's, people are going to be on the same page for once. So, yeah.
What about you, Jay? You got any shout outs? Any before we get up out of here?
Yeah, just if y'all can follow me on Twitch, man, at JRed. Same thing as you see on the screen. And other than that, I just feel like I'm on this ship. And I'm rocking and rolling as long as I can. Bear down, that's how.
All right. So before we get out of here, man, let me say this. I appreciate everybody, all our guests, Nick D'Alessandro, Jay Red, who's probably going to be a member of the Nomad Network pretty soon. We're going to work on some stuff in the background. We'll let you know what that's going to look like here soon. And now, I appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody that gave contributions. We love you guys, man. It's just fun to have lively debate and just talk about the stuff that we should talk about, and to kind of exercise some demons. You know what I mean? That's what at the end of the day, that's what it is. I think most people are ready to turn the page and ready to give this young man a chance, whoever he is, as our new quarterback. And I think everybody will learn to be okay with it. I know I will be. What we're talking about is the possibilities of, it going right, it going left. You can't get upset as a viewer or as a fan. You can if you want to, but we're going to do podcasts in the way that we feel we ought to do them, take them in the direction that we feel we ought to, and then, let the chips fall where they may. We're going to be authentic and be ourselves as we're doing it. And so that's just the way it's going to be, and again, we appreciate everybody for coming. We appreciate the people that agree with what we're saying, the people that don't. We love you all the same, man. It's a family over here, and we don't always have to see things the same way. And that's the beauty of what we do over here. It's always going to be respect. Always going to be respect. And if it's not, then you won't be here, period. That's just the way it's going to roll over here. And so that's just how it is at the Nomad Network. We treat each other with respect. We don't name call. We don't do all that stuff over here. You want to do that, go to somebody else's show and do it. I'm just letting you guys know the standard here is respect. And we can move on from there, and we can have a good show and do great content. And so with that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with these famous words. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Peace.